New year, same crap. 2025's first couple months look to be as dead as Jimmy Carter, so let's play catch-up and start with something fun first. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 follows the colorful bunch on a camping trip with Tom and Maddie. They're enjoying the family trip when officers from Gun arrive to recruit Team Sonic to combat a new threat. Shadow. Being voiced by Keanu Reeves, you know how well this is going to go for the group. Of course, they get their shit rocked because their collective power doesn't measure up to Shadow's angst. After regrouping and being pointed in the direction of an old facility that holds the secrets to Shadow's past, the team speeds off to confront him again. And now teamed up with Dr. Eggman, hopefully they'll be able to do this in time to prevent Shadow and his cohort Gerald Robotnik from destroying the world. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, folks. This movie sucks. In terms of character development, progression, pacing, etc., Sonic 3 hits all these marks about as well as Sonic rolling over a police spike trap. Where Sonic 3's strengths lie is very much in the please the fans camp of video game adaptations. I'm not really a Sonic fan. I don't dislike Sonic, I just haven't dedicated time to it. There are so many references in this movie that my girl, who's a big Sonic fan herself, was bouncing around like an excited SpongeBob, and in no way did I find anything that summarized her experience of the movie. Nah, I'm just kidding. Here, I found this.
Wow. I don't think this movie can get any better.
That was pretty much everyone's reactions walking into and out of the theater. I swear I had heard people clicking their tongues on the way out. And getting Keanu Reeves to voice Shadow, I mean, that's great and all, even being a callback to the previous movies. And if that wasn't enough, there's a John Wick motorcycle chase scene that also has the famous Akira bike slide. On top of all of that, there's a Five Nights at Freddy's scare scene that's more effective than the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. There's a lot for people to enjoy here. Now, that said, let's get into the biggest issue I have with the film, that being the human characters. They are the core that all the other faults stem from in this movie. The pacing suffers because these characters have so little to do in the film that the movie must actively try and smack Sonic upside the head, forcing him to gather all of his SpaghettiOs that he dropped just long enough for them to have anything to say or do. And when they can, it's usually an exposition dump or a scene that's not really all that funny. For example, there's this moment where both Robotniks choose to do a sequenced dance in a hallway full of lasers that could dice them up like the one from Resident Evil. Except their suits are reflective, so they can't be harmed. How none of the reflections off of their suits dice up their heads like Gordon Ramsay does tomatoes, I have no idea. The scene goes on way too long, and many of the human-focused scenes emulate this problem. But not all. Tom drops another valuable lesson for Sonic, which plays off in the long run, which is great. Meanwhile, the backstory with Maria and Shadow has almost no dialogue and hits the nail on the head. It's like the writers weren't quite sure how to approach the film, despite this being the second sequel, and the most consistent criticism was everything to do with the wedding from the previous movie. But whatever, I guess. Now, the funniest thing about the movie, to me, is not actually the film itself, but rather the drama around the film. There are plenty of jokes that work and memes that have come up, of course. But were you aware of this? What's going on around the movie right now? Sonic 3 has crushed the box office, and the primary movie it went up against at the time of release was Mufasa. And don't worry, I'll get to that shit later. As of making this movie, Sonic 3 has grossed just under $400 million, while Mufasa broke $500 million. However, when you look at the numbers being reported, you find that most of Mufasa's are in, but Sonic 3's numbers are incomplete. I wouldn't be surprised if these numbers are being underreported to give Mufasa the Christmas and New Year's wins when countries like China are reporting almost 14 million for Mufasa, but less than 2 million for Sonic 3. If that wasn't enough, Sonic 3 has also been deemed ineligible from the Oscar nominations for Best Picture. And you know what I'm going to say. It's not diverse enough. Yep. According to RAISE, the Representation and Inclusion Standards, Sonic 3 is ineligible for Best Picture of the Year because it's not diverse enough. How? Not a fucking clue. Animals for superheroes and an incredibly diverse cast. They even managed to sneak in a gay guy. but sure, what the fuck ever. Now, that's not to say that Sonic would win anyway, especially with movies like Nosferatu around, but it does make me worry for Nosferatu's chances, since we all know the Oscars is actually just a big circle jerk for all the pedophiles that run Hollywood anyway. And if you're wondering, no, Sonic didn't miss a deadline or anything, because Mufasa is on the list as well. Right here. The final nail in the coffin of sorts for why I agree that there are shenanigans behind the scenes is because you also have movies like Kraven the Hunter, Joker, Folly Ado, and Alien Romulus on this list. Just the fact that these movies are even on the list in the first place shows just how low of a position Hollywood is actually in right now. So yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 feels more like an old straight-to-DVD Disney sequel that was whipped up to make a profit. But what keeps it from the bargain bin is the heart behind it, which is carried over from the first movie. It's not a good movie, but it's highly entertaining because its head is in the right place, trying to please audiences and fans alike, despite the uphill bullshit it's going through. What a way to start the new year. Winter came to the eastern half of America, the other half is on fire, a woman had to officially declare that she lost an argument, and there is a grand conspiracy to quash Sonic 3's success. 2025 is off the fucking chain, and it ain't even February yet. So yeah.
I'm thinking I'm back.